Do you record to the cloud or do you record to your computer?
I record to my iPad. But anyways, we're recording now. So
Oh, I'll
hello
shut up.
everyone. Hi. Welcome back to Dead Eagle Podcast. We'd originally planned to do an episode on immigration, but we are having issues. Armando is currently in Peru and can't get any connection. Ernesto couldn't make it. And we thought it would be kind of awkward to do a podcast on immigration with none of our Latin podcasters here. So we're just going to switch over from that. And today we're just going to call this Fireside Chats. It's basically just going to be me and Bill and Chuck just talking about whatever. So I want to go into the big controversy for this week. I don't give a fuck. Let's talk about crowdsource, baby. Let's talk about crowdsource. So I go to sleep or whatever. I'm in the group, chatting, having a great day. I go to sleep. I wake up and I find out that there's two groups and everyone's joining one and one's this other one. And then there's this new one. And I'm like, what is going on? So I write Anthony, who tells me that they had a vote and that I'm not allowed in their group. So I'm just kind of like, okay. I'm like, well, that sucks, but all right, kind of hurtful, kind of hurt my feelings because I've supported their podcast from day one and stuff, but whatever, what can you do? So then I get added to the other crowdsourced, and there's all this intrigue about what happened, why they split. Was it Nicolette? Was it Dylan? And then we all saw that thread where Dylan kept coming on and starting shit. Hilarious. So that's been the interesting, I think, tea of this week has just been seeing the splintering of all these groups and all these podcasts, and this one won't do it with that one, and that one's back over here, and it's and then YAP. Let's not forget the other big news. YAP getting completely shut down. Finally, Bill Boswell.
That was actually my fault. So it was, and I don't know that my admins and the group owner of the YAP Facebook page were very understanding and weren't mad at all that I tanked that group.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Well,
You see,
so here's the deal. I mean, go ahead, Chuck. Dude, you are frozen on my screen with the funniest fucking look on your face right
now. In here, he's totally the most hilarious look ever.
Well, actually, Chuck, while your signal's recovering, let me just say this is Bill Boswell from yet another podcast. And I am so thrilled to be here with my friends Elizabeth Andrews and Chuck Vipperman, who have been on the YAP podcast among various others, and two of my favorite people to podcast with. So it's such a treat to be back with you all, and I couldn't be happier. And even though we're, treading in uncharted waters since we couldn't get the whole podcast team together tonight, I still just absolutely fucking hilarious and thrilling to be here with Bill.
So no, I'm so happy that you're back together. I'm glad to see the community happening now with a lot of the podcasts. I'm glad to see people working together and all of that. I'm excited because there's just so many like new developments and whatnot. But speaking of YAP, so now that the group was closed down for violations and whatnot, now that you have a new group, what is the direction for the new YAP? Are you guys still intending for it to be a podcast group? Is it going to be a debate group? What's the direction for YAP?
Well, so, I mean, this is kind of like the thing with internet debate, right? Internet debate always seems to me to kind of go off the rails because, it's just people typing words on screens. There's no like human connection. There's no, you can't tell if the other person's mad. You can't tell if they're joking. You can't tell if they're really offended.
Right.
So there's this disconnect in the texting written word online that is, in my opinion, pretty insurmountable. What's cool about these podcasts that have come out of these groups, yours, ours, the crowdsourced politics, the political paradigm shift, the one Christina and Mark do. I mean,
Next
there's so
break.
many, yeah. There's so many wonderful, brilliant, smart, witty people that have met via these forums that have kind of springboarded off them into this cool new world of like hanging out in these forums and podcasting. So this is a super long answer to your question, but the answer is this. We have some Facebook groups and they're just, do Facebook stuff with really. Originally, we made a YAP Facebook group to support everybody's podcast, but then the usual like misunderstandings and butthurt and, crazed debate started happening on that page. And, full disclosure, I mean, I'm a big part of that. When somebody
Me too. Me too, Bill.
Yeah, I get caught up in the, back and forth and the trolling and stuff. So, me culpa. However, we do have a new YAP Facebook group. We have a backup group for that YAP Facebook group in case somebody, namely me, gets a new one shut down again. And then we have our beautiful, wonderful podcast that has just been such a wonderful, lovely influence in my life. I have met such wonderful people and had such wonderful discussions. And as far as the direction the YAP podcast is going, I mean, really just more of the same. We tend to tackle those like key core subjects of the human existence and do multiple episodes on them. And I just love that. And I love the people I do it with. I mean, Afra, just a brilliant scholar and just so witty and erudite and just absolute joy to converse with. Heather, our resident hippie, all the peace and love stuff. And the thing about Heather is it's so authentic. And I'll give you a story about Heather. I actually was picking up our puppy from the hospital. He had parvo. And I was sitting in there in my car in the parking lot, like thinking about my little puppy, and I was listening to some music Heather made. That's how much Heather means to me. I wasn't listening to anybody else. I was listening to my friend Heather.
She really does have a beautiful voice.
Oh my God.
She's always said like how important it is to stay in California for her. And I heard her singing the other day. She was singing something. It was a cappella. She just appeared to be in a room singing. It was so beautiful. I mean, it was angelic. I mean, very beautiful. Absolute talent, totally.
Well, and let's not forget Desme. She's like, I mean, a like angel. I mean, I think we all know what she does for a living. She's
don't make me start crying.
I know she's just so like confident, hardcore, and yet loving about the good works she does. Sorry, Chuck.
I'm sorry. Actually, I don't know what she does for a living, and I'm about 8 seconds behind you guys with my terrible internet here.
Oh, so we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, Chuck should be saying something right now.
No, Desme is a social worker. She's a social worker in her state, and she's from what I understand, very like up there. I think she's like one of the bigger social workers. But I personally, I was a foster child. I was a ward of the state. I think social workers are literally angels on earth. So there's nothing you can do in my eyes that's more beautiful than social work. There's just nothing more.
Oh shit, you know who else is a social worker? Nick.
Mr.
Would you care to reframe your statement?
After this airs, all of us are banned from every fucking group that like exists.
We already are. That's the funny part. We already are.
But no, so the direction for YAP is you guys want to still be there to promote podcasts and you do want debate, but peaceful debate.
Oh, hell yeah. You know what? I mean, we've kind of given up on like the peaceful debate thing. Like people just are what they are and who they are. But yes, we absolutely are there to promote and share ideas and promote and share the podcasts that our friends make.
Right. And that's the thing. So we've got all these different podcasts. We've got you guys' podcast, YAP, which you guys do really great topics. I know you've done racism, you've done sexism, you've done internet trolling, you've done just a various, you guys tend to do a
religion, we did education, we did
right,
health.
COVID, right?
Yeah.
You guys tend to, you will find an issue and then expound on it. And you've got such a great diverse podcast group. You've got Scott, you've got Desmi, you've got Afra and Heather and you. And I'm sure there's others because you guys have a lot of people.
Hey, can I just sing Scott's praises for a minute? Because I said such nice things about everybody else. I don't want him to feel left out. I love that man. He is just like one of the finest people I've met online. Just so calm and collected and kind and just open to experiencing new ideas and new people. It's just a real pleasure to have made a friendship with him.
Scott is a fair guy. I have been warned I am on probation in the CrowdSourced 2.0 because, as I said in the beginning of the video, there's two of them now. One has bitch face Nicolette and Dylan and Dylan in it. And so, good call on them not letting me in there because I'm sure I would have been banned already anyway. Plus, I'm sure it sucks. The other CrowdSourced, the other CrowdSourced 2.0, believe it or not, was actually nice enough to let me in. It was so funny because if you'd have told me 6 months ago that CrowdSourced was going to splinter and that it would be that side that would still let me be a member of their group, I wouldn't have believed you. I'd have been pretty shocked to hear it. But yeah, Scott and Mark and all of Alan and
Mark's great too. They really have a great staff. And I actually went ahead and they invited me in too. And I actually saw myself out just because I didn't want my tendency to kind of tease people and troll to affect what they're trying to build there. Because I respect it. I respect all those people. I respect what they're trying to build. I just, like I said, the written word online is not my favorite forum for communication.
It's easy to misunderstand, very easy.
Yeah, especially when you're kind of coming from different places. And I find in those groups, I'm often saying things that aren't resonating with people. And instead of it being like an opportunity for us to have a cool conversation, it becomes like a, name calling or whatever.
The big is that when one of us participates in these podcasts, I mean, even if it's an off the cuff thing like we're doing tonight, we're there. I mean, we can bullshit with each other in these groups to no end. And I know Liz is a great person. I know Bill is super cool. I know Afra is cool. I know Heather is cool. And we can say now, if we did not know each other, I don't know. Maybe it's my fault, guys. Maybe I don't get to know some of these trolls well enough. Maybe I'm that guy here. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when we open up these podcasts, we get to know each other in addition to exchanging ideas. And it's worked well. And for me, I've gotten into it with some of the guys that you've talked about in CrowdSourced, and I think one of the issues is I've never done a podcast with them, even though a couple of them I know I would disagree with about 98% of the things. Treat somebody that you talk to just a little bit differently. And Bill, you're right. Just pure written word, just pure words on a page can only convey so much. But still, people like Nicolette are not worth my time. I'm sorry, Nikki, you're watching this right there. I have zero respect for you.
Well, so do you remember the first time that we podcasted together, Chuck? It was on political paradigm shift. I believe it was last spring. And
it was
spring of 2020.
Right.
And you know, we both came on and I think everybody kind of felt like maybe like there was going to be some kind of adversarial debate going on. Like I think it was us, Art, Nick. I can't remember if Afra, Heather. But then we found out that despite the fact that we disagree on numerous core things, we all had a great time talking with each other and we all respected each other as human beings. And that's the magic of this stuff. That's the magic.
A little bit better when you can look the other guy in the eyes. I mean, of course, your placard here notwithstanding, Bill, but I mean, yeah. If you look at somebody in the eyes and talking to them, you're going to be speaking a lot differently than if they are simply a name on a screen. That makes all the difference in the world. I know it has, in certainly in my case. And yes, people like you, me, Liz, Heather, and Afro, and Dick even. I mean, we go back and forth all the time. We respect each other. We still disagree all the time, but it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it's and I, you know, in my non-podcast, non-online life, I mean, I live in Southern California. Like a lot of my friends are completely different than me in upbringing, completely different than me in political leanings, culture, sexual preference. I mean, name it. Like I have an amazing network of friends and loved ones that really spans kind of every aspect of humanity you can think of. And we don't sit around bickering about the things that are different about us at all, ever. Why would we? We love each other. We love experiencing diversity through each other. So that's kind of the cool thing. And that's doubly, again, what's so confounding about the bickering in political discussion groups online. It's like you have the fucking world at your feet. You have the fucking sum total of humanity able to converse in these virtual spheres. And what we end up doing is just bickering, like making these little like clubs and tribes and, you know, othering everybody else and being fucking bitches about it.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's what's got me, I guess today, I'm sure you guys saw my status, is the tribalism. I can't take it anymore. Like, I'm not gonna fucking sit there and pretend that your fucking friend is not an asshole when they're an asshole. I'm sorry, you're cool. I like you. Your friend is an asshole. With a lot of these groups and the tribalism, like I noticed it when you guys posted your last podcast in the new CrowdSourced group. I saw a lot of people jumping on, we don't like Bill. We're not. And I was like, well, fuck, they're gonna be pissed tomorrow when my shit comes out, and it's got me, Chuck, Bill, and you know, and Armando. They're gonna be real mad when they see that shit. But I mean, you know, and so I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like you're not like, whatever, you know, you're mad or whatever, but the thing I don't understand is these people are mad about stuff that's like not even real. Like they're hanging on to these grudges and these beefs. Like for example, I don't know what the fuck people are mad at you about, Bill. I really have never been able to figure it out. I don't know. I guess you troll too much. I don't know. Chuck and I are more birds of a feather, you know what I mean? If you make us mad, you're gonna hear about it, and we're not gonna be nice about it.
Especially if there's been a few Sam Adams consumed.
Yeah. Especially if we've got spirits. But what I've tried to do is I've really through my journey of making my own podcast and realizing how fucking hard this is. Like, this is really hard. Like, I used to watch podcasts and I'd be like, oh, I could do that better. I could do that better. If I had my own podcast, it would be so much better. It is fucking hard. It's hard coming up with material. It's hard coming up with lining up people, getting people together. And, you know, I actually want to support everybody's podcast. And I know we shit on CrowdSourced a little bit, you know what I mean? Both sides, when we love all of you guys. You're all awesome. There's certain people on the old crowdsourced side, Mateo DeGaulle, a few others that I actually like. So, but tonight we're talking shit. Nobody is spared. Now,
Well, so can I talk a little bit about why I think people go so berserk?
Sure.
So, what you were just saying about like, I like you, but your friend's an asshole. I think a lot of people feel like that, like I'm the asshole. Like they like a lot of people that I'm friends with, but they think I'm, just an asshole. And sometimes it's like because I've been an asshole, if they came at me sideways online, or if I made a shit post and they got all bent out of shape about it, I could see how people would be annoyed. But then there's like the reality of what I post, which is actually not that bad. Like originally, when I started podcasting with Political Paradigm Shift, I was like, hey, yeah, I'm not sure why everybody hates me so much. And Nick was like, well, you should go look at what you post. And I was like, oh, all right, I will. So I went and looked at what I posted. And I was like expecting to see like this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, like all this like carnage, and actually was like super vanilla shit. It was just like, maybe a little edgy sometimes, but it wasn't like this, the reincarnation of Hitler had come to Earth again to fucking, ruin everybody's life with the horrible things I said online. It was just like, kind of a smart ass, dude talking shit back. So I was like, dude, I really don't say anything that's necessarily bad. I just, sometimes I get caught up talking shit. So there's that reality. But then, like you said, Liz, there's this whole like mythos around that. And like what people have decided I am because of it. And like this idea they built up in their head of like this big bad wolf. Like even Scott said it when he came on YAP. He was like, dude, I was ready to trade blows and like, and then I found out that you were just a nice guy and we had a great time. Yep. I was like, yeah, dude, that's like, I'm glad.
It's almost like you could be disappointed when the person that you despise turns out to be a halfway decent dude. Or you're like, damn, I was hoping he really sucked so I could justify my actions all the time. But
well, right, but it's just an idea that they're so freaked out by. Like Jim, Wallace, Johnson, Clapp, whatever.
Oh, Jesus, he hates your fucking ass, man. Oh,
actually, we kind of like when we really talk, we become pretty friendly. We're a lot alike, which is the funny part. But he gets like so caught up in the idea of like what he thinks I'm saying and what he thinks I am that like next thing you know, he's like, you're a Nazi and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, false. I'm just some dude that's fucking likes to be a smart ass when you kind of come unchained.
Well, that's the experience I've had with him. I mean, a couple of private messages and, the guy seems halfway decent and then he calls my son a retard. And then, that's, you don't do that. But anyway, he's Jekyll and Hyde is his issue. We mentioned Nicolette, that's just, just barely human in my eyes, but that's just.
Yes. Yeah. I think.
I'm sorry, you were going to say something, Bill?
No, I'll shut up.
No, I was just going to say, no, it's funny, how you were saying about how, it's built up into this mythos, because even today, it was yesterday, I was on a thread, and of course somebody brings up Grumbine, because the fun thing is to bring him up every so often.
I love that guy.
Right? And so somebody brings him up, and he's like, well, well, I'm like, good for him, he's successful, he's got a successful thing, and then he's like, well, there's lots of stories about him. And so I told him, I was like, you know what, dude, anybody who who's worth anything, who's even remotely interesting in these groups, has a story about them. If there's no story behind your name, then you're not really anybody in these groups. I mean, and some of the stories are great. Some people, are awesome and they have a great story. I'll pick on Afra. Everybody loves Afra. She's awesome. She's smart. She's brilliant. She's one of those people who gets the good story. And then there's people like me and some other people I won't name who, there's going to be a story. I can't exactly tell you that it's going to be heartwarming or make you feel special, but there will be a story. I feel like Chuck wants to say something. We'll give Chuck a few seconds.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Probably seconds behind again, so I'll try to tip. But no, you mentioned that sometimes the legend's more interesting than the fact, and so the legend is going to be the one that gains a foothold. I mean, that happens all the time, and if any of us get a reputation, then that legend is going to be worse than the actual person. Gosh knows, I can only imagine what some people have thought about me, and many times I've earned it. Just a few days ago, got drunk as hell and left a message, and I go the next day, shit, I shouldn't have said that. But no, most of the time it's you mentioned Afra. I mean, she's so good. I mean, hell, I dressed up like her for a podcast last year. I mean, I don't do that for just any woman. Liz, you might be the next one. I'll check on that. But no, it's ultimately fun. We're all political geeks. We're all social geeks. We all think more than the average bear, and we need to have an outlet that these groups afford us. As far as Zuckerberg will allow us to express ourselves. And yes, we're going to disagree. We're going to fight because we're strong-willed, because we're smart, and because we actually believe this shit. We actually believe in our political convictions, and we are going to stand by them. And there are a few Rubicons with each of us that you do not cross. And when you do, it's going to get interesting, as Liz likes to call it. But yeah, that's us. I mean, we're all like that to a certain degree, and that makes it it's more drama than a high school glee club. I mean, shit. I mean, high school was nothing compared to what these Facebook groups are like.
It's very true, and it's funny. It's kind of funny, like to know your image, here's my story. Here's the story behind Liz. I am the crazy girl in the groups. I'm the girl. She has, oh my God, she has borderline, and she can't hold a job, and she's a real mega big time bitch. And if you say anything, she's just gonna say the most meanest stuff about you. She's evil. She's horrible. She's Satan. So I guess that's my.
Just let's be honest. It's not there, but It all has a kernel of truth. Everything about us has at least a kernel of truth, okay?
Oh yeah, we're assholes. I mean, there's just no getting around that. It's just, are you having fun being assholes with us, or are you trying to be assholes against us? And then there's the whole other side of us, which are actually, just people that are interested in learning new shit. And that's the part that I think is really what is accessed on these podcasts. Mm-hmm. And what I love about, the friendships I've made online and in these podcasts is once we get going, I mean, just like one thing leads to another. And I've learned so much from so many people that, like last YAP podcast, we're doing a series on sexism right now.
Yes.
And it was kind of funny because I, started to do that, I guess, stereotypical male thing where I started to try to relate what the women were saying up to, the male experience.
You were explaining is what they call it.
Well, and they very nicely but very firmly told me to shut the fuck up. And I was like, okay, if these women are saying it, they're women I respect. They speak the truth. I need to fucking listen. So then, like 2 days later, go ahead.
If you're talking to women respect, Bill. I'm sorry, I know I'm late, but if you're talking to women you respect and they say something like that, that's one thing. If it's not to pick on Nicolette, but if it's somebody like Nicolette that says that, then that's a whole different thing. But yeah, the women in these groups that we've met, and if they tell you, Bill, shut up, you're mansplaining, you shut up because you know they're coming from a good place.
Well, they're trying to help me. Not so.
You've
anyway,
got
check.
of women. You've got such a brilliant cast of women on that one. I know you've got Desmi,
Oh fuck yeah,
Afra, Heather, and Christina LaRusso, correct?
Christina. Oh my god, what a rock star.
She's
Dude.
amazing. She's amazing.
Well,
I'd like to take a moment out since we're doing Fireside Chats. I'd like to take just a moment for anyone who's watching this this bullshit. Mark and Christina, Mark Snedeker and Christina LaRusso have a podcast called Extemporaneous. You can find it on Apple Podcasts and a bunch of different podcasts. It's a really fun podcast. They talk about like 80, a lot of their stuff is on like 80s movies, culture. They've done one on 80s politics. They've done it on not infidels. What are they called? The weirdos? Incels. They've done it on incels.
They have such great titles for their episodes too. They're so witty. I just
Guys, if you're a Dead Eagle or YAP viewer and you've not seen Extemporaneous podcast, please go ahead and give those a tune in. And also you can find YAP and Bill's podcast. You have a podcast, you have a group. I'll let you plug your locations now, Bill, because we're gonna bullshit after that. So go ahead.
Okay, so let me plug the locations. So what we normally do with our podcast is post it to YouTube. It's currently unlisted because there's actually a certain degree of editing that we'd like to do before we just straight up make things public. Mm-hmm. So the easiest way to find the YAP podcast is probably through the YAP Facebook groups, which you can apply to become a member of, and we post immediately after we do every podcast into the YAP podcast groups. And
you have to make it nice to Bill to get into the group. I mean, you have to actually
I have actually a confession to make. You don't make those to me, you make those to Afra.
It was funny.
She's the puppet master pulling all the strings. In fact, Bill might be an Afra alt. How weird would that be?
No. Said you can apply to be a member. I instantly was like, okay, baby Dylan, we'll go ahead and get that application.
We're not trying to be exclusive at all. We're just super disorganized, and there's some polishing we need to do to our product before we put it on the channels that you guys have already achieved.
That's only because we put out straight rough turds. Like we do know.
There's something to be said for that.
Chuck and I, we like to talk. We're not interested in editing. So what you see is what you get.
Well, there's a couple schools of thought. Like Anthony and CrowdSourced Politics, they really have a good production value. Yeah, very nice. Well, very nice stuff.
Hands down, I will give it to Anthony's section of CrowdSourced. As far as podcasts go, don't get me wrong, Mark and Christina's is extremely good as far as professionality.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I had an ounce of that.
Yeah, all of that. Theirs is really good with it, but as far as, because Anthony gives you the visual as well, they're just starting on the visuals. But as far as visual podcasts go, I will give Anthony and his crew credit. Theirs is amazing. I mean, the graphics, the imagery, they really have got a professional look to theirs that I hope we aspire to get to someday. I mean, it's really, really good. They've got that going, and they've got great content. They're a good podcast too. You know what I mean? I can't knock their professional work because it is good. They produce a good podcast.
Yeah, and again, this is kind of back to what we were originally talking about, where we all support each other. Like you can easily have a degree of professional respect for people that give enough of a shit to do this work. And you're right, it's not easy. There's a lot of effort that goes into this. And it's really, you know, a labor of love. And it's really a labor of all of us kind of seeing this as being like a next level to the, you know, very limiting interactions you can have online via like Facebook.
I think you're right, Bill. That's what's happened. I mean, Facebook, I mean, because of us, and we are naturally intellectually curious people, the natural limitations of Facebook just kind of led us to start podcasting. I mean, we wanted more exchange. We wanted more idea swapping, more bullshitting. Then there's what we can do on Facebook. That led us to this natural next step of podcasting, and I'm glad we've done it.
Well, let me throw this out there. While this is fresh in my head, Liz, can I throw this idea out?
Yeah.
So Scott over at CrowdSourced 2.0, I mean, he's a real community building minded dude, like just a beautiful human being that wants to be, you know, to facilitate things for their own sake.
Absolutely.
We have all just said the same exact thing, right? So maybe what we need to start doing is kind of cooperating a little bit more amongst people that feel that this community building podcasting platform is the way to real understanding between human beings, and, you know, double down on some of our support. I mean, I don't really know what that looks like necessarily. I'm not a very organized person when it comes to things like that. But I definitely think that there's will there for all of us to make this even more inclusive. Like the groups that we're all in, that we all came out of, that made these podcasts, are full of people like us that, you know, it would be wonderful if, you know, we had more of our friends in this forum. So, you know, and like, I mean, YAP, we invite guests all the time, you know, people that we like, people that we think are fun and funny. We bring them in, but we can only bring like one person at a time. And like, I have a feeling there's a much bigger supply of people that want to be on these things. So maybe, you know, and I'm just spitballing here, maybe there's a way for us to create like a podcasting forum that has a revolving cast of people that can just, you know, say, hey, I want to be on with you guys and shoot the shit like this.
Yes, that would definitely be cool. I think the environment for a while, I think as we were all starting, I think it started out in a way kind of competitively. Everybody wanted to be the best, you know, the most watched, the most viewed, the most, you know, whatever. You know, and then as I was saying, there became this weird background environment where there was all this background politics going on to these podcasts. And Chuck and I have found ourselves both kind of on the outs of that thing. We just aren't going to play that social game or those politics. We're going to continue to be ourselves. We're both, I don't mean to speak for you, Chuck, but you know, we're sort of linked now, so I can do that. But no, just
your stepbrothers, just like the movie.
Yeah.
We are both definitely down for the sense of community. And what, as Chuck said, like, we're all here because we're curious people who want to learn, who want to know more, who want to stimulate our mind and stimulate our brains. And these podcasts do it for them. And I think they all have something to offer. I think it was last week or the week before, I actually sat down and watched like everybody's from that week. And they were all really good. I mean, I enjoyed them all. I mean, of course, some I like more than others, but I mean, you know, they're all good. And I think it would be super cool to have, you know, some kind of environment where that community could happen. And I also, you've been giving props to Scott. I'd also like to give props to Scott because, believe it or not, he gave me permission to actually post my podcast. I won't be posting this one because he has no interest in this bullshit going up.
Dude, I was thinking about that. That would be so fucking funny.
Yeah, but
I'm posting this shit on YAP, so it will be
absolutely.
seen. It will be seen.
Absolutely, yeah. But
You know
what's that, Chuck?
Okay.
It'd be like throwing a girl outsourced, then running off before it gets
But once we get the others back and we do the immigration one, then I'll put that one up there for sure. But no, it's just been an interesting week. I was pretty surprised. I'm just gonna start calling out shit because I don't care. I was pretty surprised to see Treywick, Heather, Art, and Nick on a podcast. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I'm super cool. I'm super into it. And it's like that's kind of the point that you were saying about like a revolving door, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, cool. Like that's a new mashup, a new mix up of faces to see, you know, debate. I haven't really ever seen Treywick on any of them. So I'm looking forward to that. So I agree. I think that there's so many people, so many mashups that could happen, Bill.
Well, and you know what's cool about, and I actually really am excited to see what Treywick, or as I affectionately call him, Trainwreck, has to say on the Political Paradigm Shift podcast. I really enjoy his commentary. I think he's absolutely brilliant.
Me too.
So yeah, I'm sorry, Chuck.
No, I don't know how many times I've watched him keep coming back. I mean, what odd shit.
Okay, I'm officially starting a fund. You can send $5 to me, like every single one of you, to get Chuck new internet. We need Chuck to have new internet. I am taking questions today, right now.
This is the worst I think I've ever seen it in all our podcasts.
Oh man, today, that's why this Fireside Chat is just great, because it's just like nothing is just going right. So now we're just gonna sit here and talk shit and review it later. And see
well, so to maybe salvage some of our honor out of this podcast,
yes.
You know, to circle back around on the community building tip. One thing that we talk about on the YAP podcast a lot is how we're not really in it for the views. It seems like I'll put it like this: the YAP episode that got the most views was the one where we had Frank, the arch internet troll, on. And we talked about internet trolling. I know, Frank. I love that man. I actually met him in real life. We met at a truck stop.
Oh,
of course.
So cool.
Yeah, he popped out, and I just grabbed him in this big old bear hug, and I'm like, Frank! And like, you know, he met my family. We had some shitty truck stop coffee, talked a bunch of smack, and he roared off into the night in like a mysterious trucker fashion. I haven't seen him since.
I-10. If he comes past I-10 one more time, like I saw him at Mariana, I was like, dude, if you pass through my area one more fucking time and we don't meet up, like seriously, you and me are going to fucking have some problems, because I want to meet him too.
He's okay. So Frank's actually shy, which is part of his charm. Yeah. So Frank, I'm calling you out. You're fucking shy, dude. Get over it and come give Liz some love.
Seriously, I've tried to feed him. I've told him, because he's always on the road. I'm like, you need to come through. I will make you like.
I said the same fucking thing to him. I'm like, you want some home cooked food? Stop on by. Yeah.
Right. This dude has homes all across the country. Everybody
I know. He could literally stay anywhere. That's part of the mystique of Frank. So anyway, the episode Frank was on, where we were talking about internet trolling, got the most views. Oh shit! There goes Chuck. Anyway, it got the most views because people love to hear about like conflict and shit talk. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think this podcast will actually get a lot of views too. Mm-hmm. But like the like super cerebral shit we do, like where like our staff really shines, like the scholarship, the lives they've lived, and the effort they put into become, you know, mastery in their subjects. those don't get shit for views. And
Mhm.
at first it really pissed me off because I'm like, do you I mean, these people are like, like master tier, sharing this shit with us, and nobody wants to fucking see this, but they want to like, watch us talk shit about fucking people online. What the fuck? But then we kind of like unplugged for that as a staff. We kind of unplugged from that. And we're just like, dude, we make these for ourselves. We make these because we like to have these talks. And if people want to join, cool, But that thing about competing for the most views, fuck, if I was into that, I'd have a circus and a shit show. That's what gets the views, not the fucking good stuff. Nobody wants to hear the good stuff.
Well, see, and it's funny you mentioned that because I feel that way too. Like, that it seems like the more trashier an episode is, the less views it gets, and the more, like you said, cerebral, the less attention it gets or whatever. And I don't know, it's like I want to kind of have both going on, like I want to talk about intelligent subjects, and I want to, because my insecurity is intelligence. I worry that maybe people don't watch because they don't think I'm smart. Maybe people don't watch because they don't think I'm serious, and I don't necessarily keep track of views per se, but I do want to see my podcast grow. I do want to see it grow. I do want to see it be successful. However, and it kind of goes back to the point I was making. I want to make the show that I want to make. I want to be me. I don't want to have to tiptoe around when I'm on the internet and have to, for example, just because this is the person we're picking on throughout the whole show, have to be nice to some stupid bitch like Nicolette, just because I don't want to make this person mad, or, I want to be able to post here, or I'm just, I make these, me and Chuck and my crew make this for ourselves because we like them. We do want to be popular. We do want to grow, but at the same time, this is such hard work that I'm with you. It's like, you've got to make the show that, you want to make, that you like. And it's funny because when you go into these like podcast support groups, not support groups, but they're groups of podcasters who give each other advice. And, and the ones that have the successful podcast will always say that, like, you got to make the podcast for yourself. You've got to be doing it for yourself, because once you stop doing it and it stops being fun, there's just no point to it. You know what I mean? I want this to be fun. I want to come on and I want to talk, and I want people to be able to talk freely, and I want people to be able to say things, and and not, but I respect other people's work too, that not everybody wants that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Chuck. Bill, go ahead. You were saying?
No, I don't.
He cut out again, Bill.
Damn it, I know.
He cut out again.
But at least he's like waving his finger. He looks like Jehovah, like ready to smite somebody right now.
We could literally make so many funny quotes with that
picture. We should meme this motherfucker. You heard that? I can see it laugh.
That was funny. He unfroze immediately when we were like, "Yeah, we should meme the shit out of it."
I don't know what you're doing, probably.
But no, I do want to say to anybody in the podcast, except for Nicolette, if your feelings were hurt, I'm sorry. This is supposed to be we actually are talking about community building. We are spilling the tea though, because this has just been such an interesting week in all the political groups. It's just been interesting and strange, and I don't know, the toss up. And then now we have to, like, as you said, Bill, with you having a group and a backup group, now we have to worry about that even more, because they're trying to depoliticize Facebook altogether and get rid of everybody's groups and everybody's accounts and freeze everybody up.
Okay, can I talk politics real quick?
Of course.
So wasn't it fucking fascinating that all the political people we know from all sides of the political spectrum got deactivated right around Biden's inauguration?
I was 15 days before the inauguration, and 15 days before the election, 15 days after, 15 days before inauguration, 15 days after, banned.
Well, and then that Time article comes out. Like, who the fuck thought it was a good idea to print that Time article about the shadow cabal of, people like silencing people like us, so there wasn't any waves around the Biden inauguration? Like, here's the thing. Facebook is fucking dead. I mean, it's some, it's not a good way to converse anymore. You can't have somebody at their whim cutting ties between all of us to push some bullshit fucking agenda.
Mhm.
Like here,
there was this girl, not to get off topic, there was this girl that I know, her name's Lily Vega. She lost.
I know her.
Okay, you know Lily. Okay.
She hates me.
Wait, who said that Lily hates them? Was it you, Bill, or was it you?
It was me. It was Bill.
Okay, so wait, but no, she lost her account, her and Jared and a bunch of others that they've had for she had her account for 10 years, lost all her kids' pictures, all her kids' videos, all her kids' everything. When she told me that, I nearly fell to my knees and started fucking crying that they took her account that she had for 10 years.
I had a Facebook friends, I had a group that had been very active. I mean, 6,000 members. And again, Facebook account for 10 years and with, 6,000 followers. And because she was adminning that group when it got whacked, her whole account got whacked. And again, all the pictures stored, all the videos, all the information, all the contacts, just gone. And it's just random. It's like a damn random streak of lightning. You don't know when it's going to hit. And by God, if you've got a group with 6,000 people in it, it is not reasonable to expect an admin to be responsible for every single comment in that group. It's just, but Facebook does it. And again, I mean, their damn platform, they could do what they want, but they have a tremendous amount of authority here, and they and Twitter, I think, are abusing it. And that's a sad thing to see. I don't like rules being inconsistently and unevenly applied, even if it's something as small as a Facebook group or as large as Facebook itself. And it's a bad business model, and it's going to come back and bite them on the ass. I think it will.
Well, that's what happened to the YAP podcast group. We got zucked because I was an admin there, and too many of my posts ran afoul of the narrative that Facebook is pushing. And, it's their platform. They can do whatever the fuck they want. However, it's not a random strike of lightning, like you said, Chuck. It's a concerted effort to silence people that are deemed a danger to this bullshit fucking society that, people that really have no business in the society building realm are trying to push.
It is. I said it was random. It just only seems random. Again, in this one group, this girl I know from Iowa, she's 50 years old, a woman, but she, here you go.
You're nowhere close to 50. Oh, Iowa. I thought you were like, hey, I'm old too. I'm like, fuck no, you aren't, you fucking spring chicken.
I've never loved Iowa more.
But yes, Iowa was very well displayed. Were you like pantomiming motorboating, Chuck? Holy shit.
That was also
I don't know. I just saw this hand like in a cup. I'm sorry, I'll shut up. I see you turning red.
He's turning red, he is.
But it's a whole damn account just because she was adminning this group that got zucked. Apparently, just zucking the group was not enough. I mean, she and the other person that adminned it, their entire account was wiped out. So, man, I've set up two alt accounts actually, and stored a lot of information on there. I mean, just as a precaution. I mean, but yeah, you're right, Bill, and it just doesn't seem like the rules are being evenly applied at times. And again, these bots that they are relying on to punish people for saying the wrong thing, they don't pick up nuance, they don't pick up sarcasm, they don't differentiate in messages that are, good-natured ribbing between friends. And boy, they can go back, if someone's after you, they can go back and report something on you and you're gone. And that's why I've decentralized all my information. If I lose my Facebook account, I still got it. But man, that's a terrible abuse of power and in their respect. And I hope they suffer for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So just quick question though, because so Bill, you had said that you don't think that you think that Facebook is dead, Facebook is over for political debate. Where do you think it's going to go? Because I remember the CrowdSourced guys were always trying to get everybody on their Discord. They were like, join our Discord. And it was cool. You can talk like freely. You don't have to, you can, it was cool for once to be able to type and not have to be scared of, am I going to get in trouble? By as he said, it maybe for 6 months from now, somebody's going to come back and read this and get mad and report me, or however it works. It was liberating, but everyone still stays on Facebook. You know what I mean? Even
people stay where they're comfortable. I mean, we'll just eventually I'll get kicked off it because we're problem children and show up on Discord, and then we can cyber bully Nicolette freely.
There you
but no, you guys, it's been like a great chat. I don't want to keep you
guys.
I
better get heading out too.
But no, thank you guys so much for doing this, like, and sitting up with me and just bullshitting and having this fireside chat. I love you guys so much because
same. You guys are fucking aces.
If this had been any other group of people, like immediately the podcast falls apart and we're like, well, we can't do a podcast on immigration without the Latinos. We can't ask the Latin guys are gone. I got 2 white guys. Let's talk immigration.
I'll talk some immigration, but I don't. So I love Armando and Ernesto. Can I just say that too? I'm a super fucking big fan of both those gentlemen, and I cannot wait to meet them on the podcast. And I'm a super big fan of you two too. Liz and Chuck, you guys are the shit. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Well, I know he's going to be excited when I let him know that we didn't do the immigration episode, that like we waited for him. Like, I know he's going to be fucking thrilled when he hears that we didn't just go on without him.
Yeah.
So that's going to be cool. And just as always, wait, Chuck, did you have something you wanted to end? Because we didn't even give you a chance to make like an ending closing statement.
No, I'm fine. I'm just afraid that given my internet delay, it might be 2 years from now before anybody hears it. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut.
Wait. 7, 6, 5, 4.
Wait. I do have to say something to Chuck. Chuck, did you get rid of your border around your wall and replace it with Virginia Tech? Because that wasn't there before every time I talked to you.
I've switched it around because I'm on the iPad now. I just got some of my, my old college diploma and stuff behind me. But yeah, that's my Virginia Tech Hokie border goes all around my man cave, and it makes football games a little more tolerable. Not much for them.
Tom Brady. Sorry, someone said football, so I just wanted to throw that in there. That Daddy Eagle Politics wants to say fuck Tom Brady. Fuck him.
Woo-hoo.
Fuck him.
Here.
Fuck him.
That was the political portion of our podcast today.
Anyways, I did want to say this before I go though. I love you guys because if it was anybody else and I was like, hey, guess what? So we can't do this podcast, and it's like, let's just talk shit for an hour. It was wonderful. It was awesome.
It was great to catch up.
Yeah, I think I might start doing a gossip pod every now and again, just to speed people along. You know what I mean? But anyways, I love you, gentlemen. Have a good night, and we will be back to do immigration. See you guys later.
Bye.